Hey guys, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another edition of Daybreak Live, where every week we cover some topic that's related to literature, reading, writing, editing, discussing, learning, growing through the written word. Today, I'm just going to kind of talk about something that's important and I've been thinking about recently, something that we very often fall prey to. And that is devaluing our own work. I've been thinking a lot about, I had someone that said recently, I'm just a writer. Which to me is akin to saying I'm just a mom. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Like anyone who's ever done it knows that it's not a just kind of situation. But we fall prey to what other people may think of it. We fall prey to the judgments of those who haven't done it. Those who haven't been in that arena. A little bit. So devaluing our work, it manifests itself in so many ways. One of the ways that's very obvious is something like that, where we say, oh, I'm just a writer, or even worse, I'm not really a writer. I'm just writing my first project, or I've only been published in magazines, or whatever. Those kind of things, when we say them about ourselves, we allow other people to devalue us as well. And the fact of the matter is, probably 97% of the people that we're walking around talking to in our daily lives have not been published in a magazine, are not actually sitting down and writing. You know, they say that everyone has a book inside them, and so many people walk around saying, I should write a book, or I want to write a book, or I'm writing a book, but they don't really actually sit down and do it. And doing that, writing for people, is actually not only a valuable job, it's straight up a service to humanity. People need to hear the stories of others, and people need to learn about things that they may not have even known that they were interested in. And it's not just a privilege, or it's not just an extra. These things are necessary for our social growth. They're necessary for our adjustment. People who don't have access to stories and don't have access to the experiences of others wind up stunted. So our services by writing, whether they've been published yet or not, whether they've only been published in the local mosque newsletter, those services are valuable, and we need to feel it that way. Not just represent it that way. We need to feel it that way. We need to coach ourselves and remind ourselves. And I'm here to remind you. If you aren't reminding yourself, I'll give you a big reminder. You're valuable. So another way that devaluing ourselves manifests is in not charging the appropriate amount for our services. This is a difficult one, especially, I'm going to say it, especially in the Muslim community. I said what I said. Especially in the Muslim community, especially women. I said that too. We are very often in a position where we feel pressure, whether it's internal or external, to charge a lesser amount for our work. We're in a position where we feel that either we can't get what our work is really worth from the community that we're working with, or we feel that what we're offering is, it's not really that important. It's not really worth the big bucks, or even the medium bucks, or even the normal bucks. And this has got to stop. the only way people are going to recognize and appreciate and pay for our services is if we recognize and appreciate and charge for our services. Now, the actual appreciation and charging for our own services manifests in different ways as well. For example, it's not just that like for example, you put up like we used to do it in the old days, put up a little notice on the bulletin board at the local university that says, editing for papers, and then people call you and you just kind of negotiate a charge with them. We have to leave that kind of slipshod or fly by the seat of your pants style behind and graduate to an actual solid scaffolding that we build for our business, for our services, for our assistance. This includes things like making a business card, or I know nowadays a lot of times business cards are passé, and it's actually digital business cards. Whatever it is that will help you best communicate to people that you offer these services, make that. But also make a template for your invoices. Make a on your website, list what your charges are, or list how they can find out what the charges are, and have that in your back pocket that these are what I charge. Of course, you have to do your research first. You have to find out what is the average that people charge for example, writing a science article for a local or a regional magazine, for example. What do people usually charge for content editing? What do people usually charge for copy editing? What do people usually charge for proofreading? What do people charge for copywriting? So find out what the market is and place yourself squarely and solidly in the middle of it. Don't be tempted to, here's the thing, if it's so casual that people only find out how much you charge when they actually contact you and you speak to them personally and you offer like some kind of, okay, for you, I'll do this much, blah, blah, whatever. If they receive a discount, now brace yourself for this, because it's something that I had never thought of before. If you offer someone a discount and they don't know it's a discount, it means nothing. It means nothing. It just means that they value your work less because they had to pay less. But if you have a price list, this is what I charge per page or per article or per hour, whatever it is, and they see that, and then you tell them, if you want to, for you, I'll offer whatever blah, blah discount, then they understand that they're getting more value for less money. And that is an incredibly powerful psychological paradigm shift. Yeah? So make sure that not only are you charging what you should be charging, but the way your clients find out what you're charging is consistent and solid, and it's already set. Don't let it be something that they feel they can just, kind of wiggle in and bargain with you on. Of course you can bargain, but they have to know what the starting point was. Another way that we devalue our work is by not guarding our own time around it. Like, for example, if you have set aside an hour, 2 hours in a day, I'm going to sit down and write, or I'm going to sit down and edit, or whatever it is. Even if you're an artist, even if you're whatever kind of business you run from home, you're an at-home accountant. If you've set aside time to do whatever that project is, and someone calls you up and says, hey, would you like to go to lunch? then, and you say, well, I was going to work, but okay, let's go to lunch. That's devaluing your work, not only to yourself, but more importantly, to the person who called. To the person who called. Because we are the ones. My phone is falling. Yes, we will save it and post it on Daybreak Press Instagram. Assalamu alaikum to everybody who's just joining. Sorry, I'm really bad about reading the things that come in, so I don't think I've missed any other ones. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yes. We devalue our work to the people who are around us when we treat it as something we can do later. No. I'm sorry, I'm working. I would love to go to lunch. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you called. I would love to go to lunch. Can we do it next Tuesday at noon? Whatever. But people need to begin to hear from us, I'm sorry, I'm working. Or not even, I'm sorry, I'm working. Forget I'm sorry. I'm working. I mean, I guess I'm sorry that I can't go to your invitation. I'm working. So that begins with ourselves. We have to prioritize that time and have the drive and the himmet and the excitement to do that work when we have said we will. And of course, as we all know, for most of us, setting a routine and doing it at a specific time each day or a specific time each week is much more productive and easy to keep consistent with than just, like, okay, well, I'm going to do it when I have time. I'm going to do it when there's free time because, there never is. So we have to prioritize the work that we need to do, aka the service that we need to provide, aka the uplifting of humanity that is being a writer. So don't say I'm just a writer. Don't say I'm not even a writer or I'm not really a writer. Oh my goodness, I'm not really a writer. Listen, if you're writing, you're a writer. What you do with that writing can vary. Maybe you just keep it in your journals. Maybe you publish it. Maybe you send it off somewhere to be published. Whatever it is valuable. Even if it's just a journal and all you do is look at it yourself, it's valuable for helping you work through whatever it is you're trying to work through in your writing, or grow, or look back at what you used to do and see patterns in your behavior and go, oh my gosh, I need to change this, whatever it is. Okay, so don't say I'm just a writer or I'm not really a writer. Don't allow people to financially undervalue you, which means you need to financially value what you do. And don't let people undervalue your time at work, at your project. Even if it's not really work, it's a hobby, it's a passion project. Don't let people undermine the importance of that work by encroaching on the time that you need to spend doing it. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. These are kind of things that some of them have been floating around and I kind of intellectually knew them, but just recently I've had an aha moment myself about how much we've been pressured into devaluing our own work by the zeitgeist, by the little value that others put on it. Now, one facet of that is so much emphasis on STEM subjects. This is a tangent, but let's go there. There's so much emphasis on STEM subjects, especially very often by people who are first generation immigrants onto the second generation. They came from a place and a time where getting into science or medicine was the way to really serve community, was the way to really become successful, was the way to become financially stable. And so they've carried that on. They've carried that on and tell to their children, STEM, be a doctor, be an engineer, be something that has a specified career path and almost guaranteed financial stability. Now, I'm not knocking financial stability, but the fact is that we have done that. We have emphasized STEM so much that we've done it to our detriment because the humanities are suffering. People don't know, neither intellectually nor emotionally, history as much as they used to. They don't know the lessons of literature. They don't know the kind of things that help them grow and change their perspective as a person. So we are actually, as we said, serving humanity by being writers. SubhanAllah. So yeah, I would say not haters gonna hate, but how shall we phrase it? I don't know. Scientists. No, it's not just scientists. Let's say, I don't know. Let's just keep it as haters gonna hate, just because I'm obviously creatively challenged at the moment. Anybody who has a better way to say it, pop it in the chat. But yeah, remember that what you do is important, and not just know it, feel it, and not just feel it, live it in what you charge, in how you present yourself. So know it, feel it, and live it. And I would be ecstatic if someone could leave some feedback with stories about how times that they felt, oh my gosh, I devalued my work. Or you look back on it now and you go, oh my God, how could I have been so, like, how did I charge so little? Or how did I get so manipulated by other people, or whatever it is. And stories and plans and methods that we can use for making sure that our work is valued by ourselves and others. And yes, if we don't respect ourselves, no one else will. Exactly. SubhanAllah. Miyashimo or Miyashimo? Is it way number 1 or way number 2? Miyashimo or Miyashimo? Or is it not even, it's not a name, it's just a combination of names, first and last name. Yeah, so anyway, 1, Miyashimo. Okay, nice, Miyashimo. Ahlan wa sahlan, assalamu alaikum. All right, so, of course, one of the ways that we can value our work is by submitting it to contests. I promise this whole thing was not just some kind of sly way to promote the Daybreak Press Book Awards. Wallahi, it wasn't. I was truly, sincerely thinking of all that this week, not related to the Book Awards contests. But contests in general, not just the Daybreak Press Book Awards, but value your work enough to submit it for, look up, do your research, find which contests are and which book awards are legitimate and respected, and submit your work to them. You'd be surprised, like, SubhanAllah, especially the kind of books that Muslim women write from that unique perspective, even if it's not about being Muslim, like it's just a regular novel or just a regular whatever, a regular children's story, but the characters are Muslim. Those diverse voices are so necessary, and that's recognized by people. So make sure that you know that your work is good enough to submit. That's number 1, valuing your work. And make sure that you know that your voice, as a very diverse perspective, is not only needed, but like necessary. Like, people are gasping with thirst for these kinds of stories that aren't didactic, that aren't obnoxious and preachy, that are just good stories that have characters with flaws, who face obstacles and grow and fall and have setbacks, all that good stuff. So now I lost my train of thought, where I was going with that. Book awards. Yeah, so the Daybreak Press Book Awards is facing a looming deadline. That deadline is July 31st. Today's what, the 14th? So you have 15, 16, 17 days, 16 and a half days to get your work in to the Daybreak Press Book Awards. If you go to rabata.org and go to the Daybreak Press, go to Education and then Daybreak Press, you'll find the form for submitting your book to the Daybreak Press Book Awards. 2 tips. Best contest ever is the Daybreak Press Book Awards. How do people submit? Yeah, so they go to, Miriam, are you here? Usually Miriam, our dear assistant publisher, is on putting the, I think it's rabata.org. Go to rabata.org/Daybreak Press, and then you'll find it there. And Miriam or anyone else, if you happen to be on, if you could pop in the exact link where people can go and fill out the form. All you do is fill out the form, pay the fee, and send your books. It's done. It's really interesting that many of the places where you will submit for contests require 3 books, 3 what do you call them? 3 hard copies of your book. There are different requirements for each one. So that's another tip. If you're looking to submit to any contest, make sure that you're looking exactly what their requirements are. So our requirements are on there. They're listed in the form of FAQs. So like there's a question and then the answer below it, like who can submit, Muslim women, authors and illustrators, like each one, if you click on it, has the answer. It's very easy. Now, also another quick tip, don't forget that if you have written, for example, a children's book, and it is a cute, sweet story, and you know that it's going to touch everyone's heart, but also it has a set of illustrations that are stellar, and you're so proud of your illustrator, whether that be yourself or somebody else, you can submit it also in the illustration category. So you can submit it in children's books, submit it in illustrations, and also submit it in cover design. If those illustrations are beautiful and one of them is on the front, or something that's in the same style by the same artist is on the front, submit it in cover design. Of course, you have to pay for each one of those. Like each submission to each category is its own separate submission. It's not like you can submit one book and submit it in all the categories. And only pay once. So the actual charge for submission is per category, not just necessarily per book. But if you submit in 3 categories, you still only have to send the 2 books and the digital copy. By the way, also, a digital copy does not necessarily mean an ebook. It doesn't have to be an ebook. It can just be the PDF of your manuscript, the way you've submitted it to the publisher, or the way you sent it to the printer. That's fine. It doesn't have to be an actual electronic book to qualify as a digital copy of your book. I had someone who had that question, so I'm glad that person asked, because if one person asked, then there's other people who are wondering as well. All right, so I hope to see all of you in my inbox for the Daybreak Press Book Awards. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next week when we will be doing an interview with Anse Najiyah Mahmoud about Harry Potter and how did that series become so popular. All right, until next Thursday at 2. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Keep writing.